All right, good morning. It is September 9th, 2025, and we are reading in Your Lifebook, Element
All
4,
right.
Building a Healthy Mindset. And it says, and that's in my page, it's page 100. And it says average time to complete 1 to 2 weeks. And in Element 4, we will understand how the people, places, and things in your surroundings can be modified to serve you in creating your new story. Realizing the power and importance of self awareness give you tools for building a healthy mindset. All right, flip the page. You have now acquired some powerful tools contained within the Habits of Health Transformation System. They're designed to help you learn and install your new behaviors. Hopefully, you now understand that real change isn't just possible, it's inevitable. That is, if you're willing to become a student of the creative process and put the time in to make the necessary changes to install the habits of health. In order to overcome and move past your current behaviors and tendencies and make your weight, health, and well-being sustainable, we need to add element 4, building a healthy mindset. I love this. He goes through everything we teach. In order to overcome the past and move past your current behaviors and tendencies, we want to create a new person within us. So my goal is for you to become the dominant force in your life. When I say my goal is for you to become the dominant force in your life, I am being very serious. When you have internal stability and external equilibrium, each day of your life will become all out magical. You will possess a habit that most have never even thought about. So, what am I talking about? It's the ability to respond to whatever life throws at you, to respond in a way that will always help you in the life building process, not react. The lizard brain reacts. We take a breath, we stop, challenge, and choose, and we change it to a response. And believe me, life is going to get in the way. We will eventually talk about how you can modify your surroundings to help the people, places, and things in your life support you in your quest to improve your health and life. But right now, we are going to focus on you. So let's get started. Page 104. Who is responsible for your current health and well being? Your parents, your spouse, your friends, your environment, your genetics? You. The correct answer is you. If you disagree, I consider it important to understand why. In fact, I would encourage you to write why you think so. Most people have a natural tendency to look outside of themselves to explain why life is happening to them. In fact, our ancestors survived because of their ability to detect and respond to threats. Like a neural tripwire, we would immediately go into a defensive position, shut down, and release a series of chemicals that would allow us to either fight, flee, freeze, or faint without thinking about it. There was no time to evaluate because you would be eaten, stung, bitten, or otherwise badly hurt. Let's talk about who's in charge of your life. Let's explore a little more about how your mind works. Today, most of the things that could have killed you, saber-toothed tigers, for example, are in the past. Today, your alarm system has been hijacked, and survival is about protecting ego, identity, and beliefs. The focus has shifted to a need to be right, the need to not look bad, the need for social approval, and the fear that we don't have enough stuff. For many, this becomes a feeling where we think life is happening to us. Part 1.6 of Dr. A's Habits of Health, You in Charge of Yourself, Setting Up for Success, explains how we evolved since ancient times. There will be a much more detailed discussion on how our brain, mind, and our emotions are designed when we unpack the habits of healthy mind later. For now, It is important for you to understand who is leading you on this journey to optimal health and well-being. Most people are sleepwalking through their days, unaware and not conscious of what's happening around them. They are not sensitive to the reactive state they live in and how they are responding on a daily basis to the people, places, and things in their lives. They do not know how to treat themselves. Life is happening to them. So how about you? Let me ask you to answer the questions below so that we can assess how you are responding currently to your world. Choose only one answer for each. Your intelligence is something very basic about you and cannot change. You can learn things, but you can't really change how intelligent you are, fixed by the age of 5 and cannot change beyond then, or no matter how much intelligence you have, you can always significantly change it. Bing, bing, bing. So your character as a person is set, and there's not much you can do to change that. Flexible, so you can do things differently, but the important parts can't really be changed. Determined by your family and cannot really be altered, or is changeable and you can always modify basic things about the kind of person you are. Ding, ding, ding. When I find myself getting upset because someone makes me look stupid, I find myself unable to think straight. That's actually one. Look to blame it on someone else. Feel better or feel very angry, and I put desired. Realize only I can upset myself. So that was the desired, but finding myself unable to think straight was the one that I checked, because that's where I usually went prior to this. In the diagram below, where do you place yourself? Most of the time, as you go through your day, are you above or below the line? And there's open, curious, growth mindset, or closed, defensive, and need to be right. If you find yourself mostly below the line and answered anything other than number 4 in the questions above, you are not taking as much responsibility as you could. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. It's not your fault. You are most likely still allowing your ancient brain to run the show. You're not alone, and it does not make you a better or worse person. It simply means that you are operating your life at a mostly unconscious level. Welcome to the human race. Most people think the world should be a certain way, and that in itself is a recipe for anxiety, upset, frustration, or letting our thoughts become entrenched. We blame our surroundings, others, or ourselves for our current state. We become closed, defensive, and consumed with being right. Why is it important to move above the line and to take responsibility for how we respond to the world and the people that live in it? Well, besides being a sure way to make this world a better place to live, moving above the line is essential if you want to reach your healthiest self and live in a state of optimal well-being. In fact, this is the keystone in installing the habits of healthy mind. At this early stage in your journey, it plays a vital role in helping you take charge of your health and life. It starts with self-awareness. And I'm going to say it again. My 3 things that I have found run through all of these books is awareness, preparedness, and mindfulness. Those are the 3. If almost every page you can find one of those. It's really important to understand that if you're aware that you are operating at a subconscious level and making choices that are not in your own best interest, then you cannot improve. Secondly, you absolutely need to decide that you are going to take responsibility for your behavior and your results. This is very different from placing blame or responsibility on something or someone outside of your control. In psychology, how an individual responds to their world is referred to as the locus of control. In other words, do I make life happen or is it happening to me? Who is in charge? When we place blame on others, we give away our power and surrender control, and we place the cause and reason outside of ourselves. When we decide we are the dominant force in our lives, we are taking back our power and responsibility, and the cause now lies inside ourselves. Most people play the victim and wonder why life is happening to them. Others play the villain and blame what is happening on someone else or on themselves. The third group, the heroes, hate conflict and pain. They avoid dealing with them by overcompensating and arriving to save the day. When you take responsibility, you are refusing to get caught up in the drama triangle that's illustrated below. There's the picture and all of my notes. So the victim, it's not fair. The hero, I'm here to save the day. I'm enabling victims. The villain, I blame you, them, or myself. Who is at fault? Or the victim, it's being done to me. And right in the middle is the upside down triangle of drama. People get caught up in this triangle because something happens or goes wrong, and they are fearful that they will look bad, get in trouble, or have their ego damaged. And so the drama continues. Many times the players shift roles, as indicated by the arrows. The effect of blaming, feeling shame, and fear that things will not go their way happens because the locus of control is outside, those who are caught in the triangle. This leads to a state of internal unrest, anxiety, and highly stressed state, all of which are unhealthy for your body, your mind, and overall well-being. It also leads to bad habits like emotional eating, increased alcohol intake, drug dependency, internet and smartphone addiction, gambling, stress, and depression. Rather than succumbing to the drama triangle, which we now know exists and can prepare for, we're going to create a new triangle that will help empower you and others. Spending is also part of that. Dr. Dave Blanchard teaches us that with the Habit Finder Health program. Pornography is another one. This new triangle of empowerment is the basis of the creative process that forms the building blocks of the habits of health. Here's how this new triangle can help. First, when you find yourself drifting below the line, don't fall back into your previous tendency to feel like a victim. Instead, take responsibility as the creator of your new story. Equipped with structural tension as your new form of generative motivation, you're going to focus on your desired outcome rather than reacting to what happens. Second, you will challenge yourself when something happens and be curious enough to use these challenges to learn, grow, and improve rather than finding someone to blame, which is easier and ultimately offers you no long-term reward. The obstacles in your way will now become the way that you get better, the means by which you change your life rather than being any reflection on you. And when you are responding to others, you can take the crucial decision. Sorry, I just had a pop-up come on my screen. Would you quit? Okay, there we go. Oh, shoot, where was I? And when you are responding to others, you take the crucial decision to not drift down into their drama. Instead, you will help to empower rather than enable others. This new model looks like this. The empowerment triangle. Creator, I am creating my new story. To coach, I help others get better. I empower others to be successful.
Bless you.
Thank you. Challenger, obstacles help me get better. I am
That's
open and
brilliant.
curious to learn. Creator, I am in charge of what happens. And in the center is empowerment. So,
That is it.
page. How do we make this work for you on a practical basis and give you the means of installing the new way of responding to your world? You need to be your own chief advocate on your journey and have the ability to minimize anything or anybody, excuse me, throwing me off track. If you're feeling overwhelmed by these new concepts and the idea that you can be in control of your destiny, remember that I am right here with you on your journey. We'll take this process like we do all the habits of health you acquire in baby steps, one micro habit at a time. So at that area when I was first reading my book, it says, if you're feeling overwhelmed, I have a yes written down there. Make sure to write in your books. It's fun to see that stuff. But we're going to take it in baby steps, one micro habit at a time. Think of this as taking regular trips to the mental gymnasium. We will start with some really useful and interesting tools to help you, but first we need to take a look at how the world works and why many fail when they try to change. When you escape your hectic schedule and are on vacation, spending some time alone or on a quiet walk, then your health and well-being intentions will make sense. You know that it is important to lose some weight, start to move more, and make sure you get more sleep. Without the constant stream of what seems like negative information, it would be easier to install your new habits and stay on the plan. But sadly, your great intentions seem to wilt when life gets in the way, and unfortunately we can find ourselves reacting in a way that may not be in our best interest. That's why we can be in charge one minute, then find ourselves acting like a spoiled kid the next, doing something that we know does not serve our best interests. The rational brain, our thinking brain that knows what is best in times of calm, is barely, if at all, aware when your lower brain senses something is wrong. Most don't stand a chance as they sleepwalk through life in an unconscious state. The stimulus creates an immediate response from our emotional brain without a gap of time or thinking. It looks something like this. So you have stimulus, response. I actually like to say reaction. When it's triggered in the lower brain it's stimulus, react, and it's automatic. So I explained this earlier and in part 1.6 of Dr. A's Habits of Health, which is what we read last week. You in charge of yourself, setting up for success. We will further discuss how our emotional or Labrador brain reacts in a subconscious level. When something happens to us, we respond at a reactive level. See, he talks about it. It activates us, and we drift below the line into the drama triangle. We eat, act, and respond in a way that does not serve our new desire to create optimal health and well-being. The things you have created in your thinking brain. Can you recall a situation where your reactive brain dominated your response rather than your rational brain? Many times. Without conscious awareness, all the above the line attributes, which are so important in developing your new story, will never get online and so have no chance of taking charge. In the visual below, you can see that the stimulus does not have time to reach the thinking brain before you're already eaten the donut, yelled at your kids, or shown a single finger to a passing motorist, burning very few calories in the process. Yeah. And of course, there's the lower brain, the emotional brain, and the thinking brain. And just recognize what part of the brain does it go through first? That animal react brain, which we have no control. It has no time. It has no anything. And then a lot of times we move it up to this emotional brain, but we're still sitting in emotions instead of being to that place where we stopped, took a breath, and moved it up to that place where we can think. The key to regaining control starts with self-awareness. We need to create a pause in our lives, even momentary one, so that we can create time for the areas of the higher thought to be present. The conscious thoughts can take over and put you back in charge. How do we break the stimulus response or stimulus react that triggers reactive behaviors and gains control over our automated brain and subconscious mind? Stop, challenge, and choose. This is all about becoming fully aware at the moment when the stimulus or event happens so that you can choose to delay the immediate response from being triggered. To do this, we engage our thinking brain. Self-awareness is the first step in changing your previous programming. It will be one of the most important habits of health that you will learn. I will develop throughout your journey, and it will develop throughout your journey, and you'll use it on a daily basis. There are many ways to work on becoming more aware, which we will develop together, including a focus on your breathing and the important use of meditation as a habit of health. For now, I'm going to give you some cues your body serves up when it's about to go prehistoric on you. I love that. These will give you ways to start breaking the stimulus react or response, he says, behavior instantly. It begins by becoming more aware, there's that word again, of your body and detecting the signals coming up from your unconsciousness as they rise to the surface. Anytime you feel that something isn't quite right, you will sense your breathing change. Your heart rate increases, a lump forming in your throat, a queasiness sitting in the pit of your stomach. These are all signals that should make you stop before saying or doing anything. And I love over in element 23, your emotional management, it really shows you all of the different places that all of these emotions set. It's like, and that's the next step where he says, okay, you feel it, you recognize it, you become aware of it. But over in element 23, he says, okay, now put a name on it. Stop, recognize it, put a name on it. What are you actually feeling? Because a lot of times I'm feeling it in my stomach and I think it's fear and it's actually anger, or I think it's anger and it's actually fear. And putting a name on it gives it even less power. And then you take the time to actually feel the feelings for 60 to 90 seconds and it flows through. And that is so powerful. And also remember, breathing will change. Fear and excitement are the same exact emotion. Fear is without breath. Excitement is with breath. Seriously, if we can learn to breathe when fear comes in, we can change it around pretty simply with literally breath. Okay, these sensations are a sign of your awareness that an emotion is running through your body. It is usually connected to an action. Let's run through stop, challenge, and choose response. So, stop. Your mind and body are tightly linked. The physical sensations, like that feeling in your gut, are cues that signal you to immediately take control of your current condition. Challenge. By becoming good at stopping, you are putting yourself in a position to know how to control your response to a negative feeling or emotion. In the chapters that follow our healthy mind, of the healthy mind, we will go into this in much more detail. For the moment, once you have stopped the immediate response, there are some things that you can do to cool off. Usually, negative feelings are generated when our ego or identity are somehow threatened. It takes about 2 minutes for the emotion to pass. Once you recognize it, and it will take its natural course, I find if I drink a glass of water before talking, or take a deep breath before acting, then I can fully engage my rational brain and decide what action will move me forward in my health, my relationships, and my overall well-being. Did you recognize that? It is stop, and then it's moving it to that point where we can think about it, we've got to go through the different levels of brain to get to that place where we can think about our thoughts. And we are the only critter that can think about our thoughts. That's it. We're the only one that has that prefrontal cortex where we can think about what's going on. But we need to move it to there. So, triggers such as your immediate urge for sugar, chocolate, a salty snack, or other habit of disease will cause your body to send out similar signals that you can now detect to prevent mindless eating. Wow, I let it tickle. 3, choose. This book is making you aware, teaching you the principal habits of health so that you will have a growing repertoire of better choices to make in every circumstance. Like all other habit installation, using stop, challenge, choose will take time and practice to learn and install, but over time they will become automated. And that's goal. Automated, stop, challenge, and choose. That was my big note. If you think about it, we're right back to the trio: cue, routine, and reward. Your detected feeling is the cue, which signals stop. The routine is your thinking challenge of sorting out what is going on, and reward is making the right choice by choosing an action that turns potential negative action into a positive choice. This will give you the sense of accomplishment. Below, we show the ability of stop, challenge, and choose to delay the stimulus response or reaction and activate the thinking brain to choose a healthy habit rather than a habit of disease. So do you see on that? It moves it all the way through all levels of the brain. When we stop, it gives it enough time to get up to this one, that prefrontal cortex, that human thinking brain. Move it through that lizard animal brain up to the emotional, where we feel the feels but we don't react because of it, and move clear up to that human thinking brain. So I think you will find Stop, Challenge, and Choose to be a powerful tool that helps you start to gain more control over your world. You will find that you are no longer competing with people around you. Instead, you are looking within to get better at being in control of your inner world. What are some of the immediate ways you can start using Stop, Challenge, and Choose? There's spaces for you to write those down, and I have it in several different colors, several different times I've gone through it. So, name the things you want to stop doing immediately. Write down what you are currently using Stop, Challenge, and Choose to increase your awareness, your self-control, lots of areas to write. Conscious breathing skills. How many pages? Wow, we still have several pages. Okay, I think I'm going to stop there because we are at the top of the hour. So, oh my goodness, thank you for reading with me or listening to me read and rant.